What's up, man?
Nothing much. Episode 11.
Yes, 1-1.
Yep, 1-1. I was I was proof listening our episode 10. It was like a couple weeks ago. Everyone fell asleep in the car, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this. And then I looked in my rearview mirror, and my oldest daughter woke up. She's like, "Dad, is this What's Up, Man?" I said, "Yeah, it is." She's like, "That's you?" I said, "Yeah." She's
That's
like,
funny.
"Is that your cousin?" I said, "It's my friend. It's my best friend Brandon." She's like, "Oh." And then she sat there like for a little bit, and she goes, "Is What's Up, Man just for boys?" And I was like, "No, girls can listen to it too." She's like, "Well, maybe one day I can be on What's Up, Man." And I was like, "One day, Emmy. One day I'll get you out
Yeah.
here."
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's cool.
Yep. So how has your break been?
It's been in the beginning it moved along. We had um, the fourth weekend, just kind of chilled, a couple firework shows and whatnot, and parades and what. Then it turned into getting ready for my daughter's party.
Mm-hmm.
So there was lots of yard work, cleaned out the garage, fixed some part of the deck, stuff that I was supposed to do 6, 7 months ago.
Yeah.
But I finally did it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it today.
Yeah, that's what I'm the master at.
No.
I'm the master at procrastination.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was like, you don't have to ask me 100 times. Okay, I know it's been 9 months.
Yeah.
All right. But no, then after the party, it turned into just hanging out at the lake and
That's good.
drinking beers all the goddamn time and whatnot. So
That's cool.
it was long. Still trying to recover from it. Like I'm getting up early again to work and it sucks.
Yeah. The hangover, the
Yeah.
vacation, holiday hangover.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? How's your week been?
It's been all right. Nothing. It's just kind of just relaxing. Work, whatnot, and it's funny. When we were talking about putting this episode together, which was was it a pain? We'll get on that in a second. I was like, all right. I said, oh, man, I can really use a break from all the comic book stuff. Like it's been just ridiculous with the castings of James Gunn's new stuff. And I was like, all right, we can take a break from it. And then then yesterday happens, and Blue Beetle releases a new trailer. Which I'll tell you what, after that trailer, I feel a lot better about this movie coming out.
I was kind of excited in the beginning, anyways.
I
thought
was.
It was looking good.
I was like, okay, we'll just see. But after this trailer, I was like, okay, now I'm making assumptions, but just the CGI in the trailer alone, I was like, yeah, I think they shifted the money from the Flash to this. Like knowing the Flash,
they should have.
The Flash doesn't matter. This is gonna launch the DCU. And I'm sitting here looking, I'm like, damn. Like, I was like, did they really pull the money from Andy Muschietti? And we're like, hey, we'll give you Batman. Just make this fucking thing. We'll give you Batman, and we'll make up for it or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, we'll talk about that. And then a new Godzilla trailer come out. The Japanese Toho is making a new Godzilla movie called Godzilla -1. And they released a picture of him. I put it on the Facebook page. And a trailer that's also on the Facebook page, and I'm like, dude, this looks amazing. Dude, the Japanese just love fucking destruction, and it looks.
Oh yeah, they do.
It's just a 30-second trailer, and that's all they show. And I was like, all right, that's gonna be cool. And then another thing that happens, and it's just dude, the shockwaves just keep coming with Superman Legacy. We talked about David Cornsweet's Clark Kent, Superman, Kal-El. Rachel Brosnahan, I did that a lot better than the last episode, is Lois Lane, and that's all we knew for a while. And then boom, Nathan Fillion will play. Will play a guy, which he's great, and everything he's in, he's good. He actually, I think, should be a much bigger actor than what he is.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if you ever watched The Rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in The Rookie, and did a little cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So,
Yeah, I believe
but
he voiced the Green Lantern in older Justice League
yes, he
movies.
did.
Yeah, so,
He did.
but he's
So it was kind of weird.
yeah.
I thought that was that's what I was talking about when you're like, no, I seen him in as a voiceover guy, and you're like, no, they casted him. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now I see it
Yeah,
now.
but he's not Hal Jordan. He's Guy Gardner.
No, that's another thing that surprised me that they went that route.
I hope he
So,
comes with the bowl cut. He typically has a
yeah.
fucking red
Oh
bowl
yeah,
cut.
yeah. The red bowl
James
cut
Gunn
and the bat.
like
Yep.
if it's anyone, James Gunn will do it.
Oh, he's gotta. Yeah.
And then is it?
So that's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah,
Though.
and then another last name that I'm just gonna fucking butcher. Like I'll get it the next episode. Isabella Merced. Merced maybe.
I think.
Is Hawk Girl. That could be cool.
Mm-hmm. She played Dora.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, you're right. She did play Dora. You're right.
Yep, yeah, she was, and she played something else. I want to say, I keep thinking it was. Oh no, Transformers. She was in Transformers as well.
The couple latest ones. The last night I think it was called or something like that.
Yep.
You know, I'm kind of disappointed. One character that no one talks about that's being left back in the DCEU was Hawkman, and Black Adam was badass.
Yeah, he played a good job.
Yes.
He did good.
Yes, I am very disappointed that he's being kind of left behind.
Yeah.
I thought he was one of the bright spots of that movie. And then this is another last name I'm gonna butcher, but Eddie, maybe the first one, Eddie Gathegi. He's gonna be Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Terrific.
Terrific, Mr. Fantastic, dude. I got Fantastic Four on the brain too. We'll talk about that.
We'll jump into Marvel right now and talk about Fantastic Four real quick.
Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Terrific, which that could be cool. Because I tell you what, he was really good as Darwin.
That's a different character to throw in there too.
Yeah, what a weird
I thought
character.
They would have thrown him in. Yeah. But hey,
Yeah,
whatever.
because he was Darwin in X-Men First Class. He was really good.
Yes.
I was pissed when he was killed off. Spoiler warning for a 12-year-old movie. But
dude, if you haven't seen it, stop.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. So Mr. Terrific could be cool. I don't know a ton about Mr. Terrific. I've seen him in a couple like animated movies. Don't know a lot about him, but
yeah,
definitely the guy could pull it off. And then earlier today, they announced Anthony Carrigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got casted. He got cast to play a Metamorpho, and that was a character I was like, what? Like,
yeah, dude. So Kerrigan, he played actually in the DC stuff before with Gotham. I don't know if you remember or if you ever watched Gotham.
I didn't. I saw the first season, and then that was when just life for me just started getting busier and busier and working a lot. And I just I never got back to it. He played here and there.
Victor Zsasz in Gotham.
Oh, so. No shit.
Yeah, and he did an awesome job.
Really?
Just that badass, assassin. Like he did a pretty damn good job. So and then he's in Barry too. I don't know if
yes,
Barry
yes, yeah. That was the one word.
Pretty good role. I feel he should do pretty good.
I wonder what he's gonna look like because it's such a bizarre looking character. But if
again,
bizarre
another
looking
weird character
is gonna be brought to life once again, I mean,
yeah.
James Gunn brought Drax to life, and
it's true.
All the other weird looking characters. So, definitely, he's not fucking around with Superman Legacy.
No, not at all. He's hitting the ground running.
Yeah,
dude. He's so it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
One thing that they talked about, and we'll do this real quick, but they talked I forgot who it was that they talked to on DC recently, and they want to talk about the timeline of all these movies coming out. They don't want to make it too confusing, so one movie is not going to totally affect another movie, which is kind of nice. I mean, you don't want to screw up. You don't want to screw the continuity up too much, but you won't have your hands tied to other movies. Because I remember in Iron Man 3, when Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, got the chest piece removed. And the following movie, the guy was like, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with that?" You know, and then he got it, put it back on, or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
he had on the next movie. But the guy was pissed. He's like, "Dude, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like, what am I gonna do?" So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So it'll
Wild.
be interesting. Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I
It
said, the
also made me
comic book.
think because Metamorpho, he's part of the Doom Patrol, so I'm wondering if he's gonna go like that route too and bring like all them in too.
Dude, I don't know. We have the
I
authority.
don't know.
We have the authority. We have these guys. We have
There's a lot the outsiders, so it's like there's a lot of like things that they could go after this with these characters.
yeah.
It's
They could
different.
definitely.
It's
There's a lot of
interesting.
pathways they could take
Mm.
with this, and yeah, we'll just have to see. And then while this is all happening with the casting of Superman Legacy, Fantastic Four is just falling into fucking shambles.
Yeah.
Adam Driver and Margot Robbie were just like, bye, we're
Oh, that
done.
hurt me, man. I was
Yeah.
like, damn,
After that,
damn, damn, damn.
after that, I was like, let it rest. Just,
Yeah.
just be the
I mean,
Fantastic
eventually
Four.
it's gonna come out.
What's that?
I'm saying eventually it'll come out, but
Yeah,
I just, yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. Oh, and then another comic book thing that happened: Hugh Jackman, Wolverine in
Oh
the
yeah,
yellow and blue
yeah.
suit.
Got to see the classic look.
Yup. Well, you know
That
what?
was awesome.
Hold on a minute. Now I was sitting there. I'm like, this is so badass. And a couple people. This is just to prove that you cannot make everybody happy. Was
Oh,
that I saw
God.
that suit, and I was like, I'll just see what people have to say. And they're like, well, I wish it was the orange and brown suit. I wish it was the orange and tan suit. I wish it was this. And I'm like, dude, this is it. There's not making anybody happy. Not everyone
That
can be
came out
happy.
after everything. Like that's not the
Well,
original.
it is. It is the original. That's like,
That's the
yeah, the
original. Like,
red, maroon, orange suit.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's like way back in the day. But I don't know if you want to say maybe the '90s normalized the blue and yellow suit, and that
Hmm.
one kind of stuck
That's
around
how I
for
always
a
remember it.
while until they started mocking it in the first X-Men movie. But
Mm.
yeah, that just proves like you're just not gonna make everyone happy. You just keep trucking forward, and that's
Yeah.
that.
Eh. Oh well.
Yeah, yeah. But so real quick before we
Yep.
tackle this subject, you drinking anything today? What you drinking?
I do. I got something. A little taste of Colorado. Can you guess it?
Course.
Ding. Of
Wow.
course. Yeah. I've been randomly grabbing these lately. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Maybe just they're just easy to drink, I guess.
Yeah.
So like to
Nice.
taste the Rockies.
I end
You
up
know.
I have Gitchy Gumi.
Huh.
Yeah, a juicy IPA. Double dry hopped with El Dorado, Citra, and
Ooh, yeah.
Cascade.
El Dorado hops are very, very
Yeah,
nice. I've used them quite a bit in some beers.
nice. All right, well,
Yeah, that's good.
let's get at it.
Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers, cheers. Welcome back. God, it feels like we haven't done this in a long time. Which I want to say what's up to all the new listeners, new and the OGs. I'm going to call the first 23 the OGs. We were stuck at 23 for a long time.
Yeah.
Now we're at
Except that one.
40 something. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So, Brandon, we had talked, many, many different subjects that we wanted
Moons
to
of goats.
tackle here and there. And electric vehicles have always been like, yeah, I'd like to talk about this and end up learning more about it. My knowledge has been very, I don't know what to say. I guess it's just kind of like mainstream knowledge, a typical person. And then we started getting more into it as sales started rising and it's become more the norm. And we wanted to put this together. And I'll tell you what, man, this was hard. Because when we talked about this, doing this podcast, we didn't want to get political, right? There's plenty of other political bullshit out there that people can go listen to. We didn't want to get political. So it was kind of hard with this one. because with the latest administrations, this has been pressed really hard, much harder than it was 3 years ago. So
Mm.
anyone listening, we did our reports. I did it as non-biased as possible. I went to many different um, many different sources that I could possibly find, and just try to stay completely non-biased about it. And really, just kind of when I was going through the outline, I was like, all right, let's just go on the questions I would typically ask if I'm just gonna go buy one. If I'm just gonna buy one, and so this is where I guess we were both at.
Mm.
You work on them
Yep.
with your job, so you have some in depth knowledge and experience,
Yeah.
I guess.
You can say that. Yeah.
I make parts for them at my job, uh, so I mean on the manufacturing side of steel stamping, nothing major that would consist of putting anything together. But so your first impressions on the EV vehicle back in the day. Let's time travel back in the day. What was your first
Hmm.
impression on the
So,
EV?
so I always, yeah, obviously you always go back to like movies and stuff that showed like futuristic cars, right?
Right.
So they're smooth, they're slick design. It's kind of like I said, it's kind of like what the movies kind of threw out there and whatnot. Um, I thought they were okay looking.
Mm-hmm.
They're different. You can tell like obviously they don't need the cooling like normal gas does, so the front end's different. No exhaust, obviously. So it's a different look to them.
Mm-hmm.
But overall appearance of these, I think they're all right looking.
Yeah.
I don't have any issues with them. Some of them are badass.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a couple examples when we get into this a little bit,
Yeah.
but they weren't too bad. Like I said, they're just slightly different, but they still look pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
My first impression when I started getting not becoming more aware of it, I remember looking. I don't know how I got on YouTube and started watching these Teslas at drag strips, just wiping these fucking
mm,
muscle cars out. It wasn't even fair. And I was
oh
like,
yeah,
holy shit, look at this thing just ripping. And so I started looking into it, and Tesla was like the big dude of it all. They were kind of like the only company doing it at the moment,
yeah,
breaking into the mainstream. And I started looking into it, and I was like, man, these things are pretty cool. Um, they look cool. There's some cooler than others. A lot of them are very just sedanish looking. If
mm,
is that a word, sedanish? They look like a sedan.
yeah, yeah.
And then
Majority of
Elon,
them are.
right? Elon Musk introduced the Cybertruck, and I was like, damn, that truck is badass. It looks right out of Blade Runner. That's what I thought.
It
It looked
did.
like Blade Runner. Fucking cold rolled steel. It just looked indestructible, even though they broke the fucking window during the
Broke the
demonstration.
window. For sure. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that guy got
nice.
fired.
Yeah,
But
that was funny.
I was like, cool. This is cool. I like, this is pretty cool. It seemed back then, I think this was around 2017, 2018. At the moment, I thought it was cool because I was like, all right, we're going to go into a smooth transition. Eventually, we'll probably all be driving electric vehicles. And dude, I'm thinking like 2060, 2070. Because
Yes.
I knew right
Yes.
then, I was like, batteries, and we'll touch on this later. The battery technology is not there for everyday use.
Mm-hmm.
Couple summers later, Michigan alone was afraid they were going to experience brownouts. California is experiencing rolling brownouts constantly. My wife's family, my family too, was out in California on Thanksgiving. They had a rolling brownout, and they couldn't have
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving at their house, so they had to go somewhere else. So I was sitting there wondering. I was like, okay, if it's a smooth segue, we'll be able to pull it off. Um,
Yeah.
Turns out that's not the case. And like I said, I don't want to get political, but it's getting pushed hard. It's getting pushed
Too hard.
real hard. And so what the way we want to look at this, and that was my concern. I was like, okay, now it's being pushed. Where do we go from here? All right,
Yeah.
maybe we can do this. Maybe we can't. I don't know. I'm no expert. So let's just start right now with the sales of
Hmm.
we'll just go by the numbers, and then I'll start off with this one. It said reports indicated that sales of the EVs almost doubled between 2020 and 2021. So they're hitting the market good.
Oh yeah, they are.
308,000 to over 600,000, and more than 56,000 were sold by companies in March this year alone. So actually, I just saw a report just recently that they're seeing a slowdown, a major slowdown. Like the Mustang E's, I think they're called.
Yeah. Maki,
Yeah,
was it?
dropped like 69% from a year ago sales. So yeah, so right now, cumulatively, manufacturers have sold over 2,500,000 battery and plug-in vehicles in the last 12 years. So they're selling, and they're selling quick.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there was a record 60,000 increase in EV registration in the first quarter of 2022, about 158,600, which is 4.6% of all new car registrations in the country. Interestingly, countries manufactured approximately 442,000 electric vehicles in 2022 alone. And the forecast is saying in 2023, this year, um, they're forecasting over 1 million units sold. But like
Hmm.
I said, it's starting to slow down just in the second quarter. So I don't know if a lot of people did what we did, and started diving, like just do a deep dive on it. And we'll talk about that later. And what are you witnessing anything? Like is the EV at your work getting pushed hard? Like what are they thinking for the future?
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's just that's the way it is right now. Um, we see. I believe that electric vehicles are the future,
Yeah,
but not right now. Maybe in 100 years.
I thought it's kind of
You
weird
know,
that the hybrid was just forgotten about.
that's why. That's from everybody I work with, and I work for one of the biggest. Actually, I think I don't know. It's one of the biggest in the whole world combined of all our
Mm-hmm.
companies. Um, I don't know anybody who thinks this is right,
Right.
pushing this right now, that the hybrids should have been
It makes
first,
sense. It makes sense.
and that's when we were doing hybrids. You said 12 years ago, we were.
Yeah.
When I first started here, we had hybrid minivans, and like that was the thing we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
You could do this, and yeah, it's not a lot of charge you get off these, but it was enough to where, oh shoot, I got to switch over and use my electric
Right.
for whatever 50, 60
And they
miles.
can actually recharge
But
as you drive, right, through the brake pads.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, but again, this is something that over time I'm sure they would have been able to do 100, 200 miles, where you can get 300, 400 miles off the gas, and then you can do another 100, 200 miles. I'm sure they could have, but it's being pushed so much now that our focus is on full electric,
Yeah. It's weird that was
and
just
it's
totally.
it's actually hurting a lot of companies. I was telling you, to make an electric vehicle, it costs 40% more money than a normal car,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to make that money somewhere. So their thought, and this is auto manufacturers worldwide, they're laying off people now because they have to make up that money somewhere,
Yeah.
and it sucks. That's
They're
pretty
gonna
crappy.
they're gonna make up the money by cutting as much as possible, and then guess what? They're not gonna take that loss. The money,
No.
the cost. Every time the cost rises on anything, who pays for it? The consumer.
People pay for it.
Yep, the people.
So
So let's see what happens. So well,
yeah,
right.
and like I said, I love the you were saying trying not to be biased. I do. I like these some of these vehicles. I've driven all the Tesla models,
Yeah,
and I think they're awesome.
I rode in
I've
one.
driven Rivian. I don't know if you ever heard of Rivian.
No.
It's a bigger truck, and they got a truck and a SUV right now.
Okay.
They're one of the another company that's really on the move. Lucid Motors. They make cars, and I think they got an SUV coming out
Mm-hmm.
soon. But they're very very expensive. So Lucid, this is one of the cars I drove. It's called the Air Grand Touring, I think it
Okay.
is. It's like $190,000,
Holy shit.
but it's fast. It has over 1,000 horsepower, dude, and it
It doesn't even
books.
sound street legal.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I've driven like a random Volvo, Nissan,
Mm-hmm.
BMW. By far, my favorite was Porsche Taycan Turbo S, dude. This fucking thing was crazy nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But they're nice vehicles. I'm not dissing the vehicles, and it's just coming too
yeah.
fast.
Yep. So they're here right now. So let's look at the pros. Like I said, we're trying to not
Hmm.
be
Yeah, yeah,
so biased. So I'll let you tackle the pros,
yeah,
the
yeah.
good things.
Uh, Performance and delivery, like I was just saying, they're fast, man. A lot of these cars have four, five, 600 horsepower, but it's not like a normal car has a gearbox, right? So you're
Right.
shifting.
Yeah.
These have instant available performance, man.
Mm-hmm.
Power. So you're going straight. That's why you said like on the tracks and stuff, dude.
Yes.
They're blowing them away because they're not half in the shift.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have the potential to be insanely quick. Uh, the Rivian T 1T, which is the truck
Mm-hmm.
model, um, it's a 7,000 pound electric vehicle,
Damn.
and it goes 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. So I mean, remember my blue truck, my old diesel
Yeah.
truck? That was 7,000 pounds, and I mean that was a heavy sucker. So,
Yeah.
but the benefits of electric motors are not limited strictly to straight line acceleration
Mm-hmm.
either. So, but yeah, they have that instant power, which is so cool.
Right.
Clean motoring, no exhaust. Obviously, they're electric, so electric motors are far cleaner than gas engines. Of course,
Right.
how much cleaner electric cars are compared to their gas powered counterparts depend on a number of factors. Local power plants produce electricity burning fossil fuels, and then the net environmental benefits of the EV go down, right?
Right.
So, I mean, everything's slowly, which is what they want, the emissions to come down.
Right.
And overall, it will be. While many American power plants do burn fossil fuels, solar and wind farms can supplement that grid too. Which that's another thing that I
Mm-hmm.
thought you would. I thought you would have had solar power on these cars, right? You know,
Some form of it.
like
Some
yeah, it's
way.
like you know, but also less maintenance on these. Due to electric motors, they have fewer moving parts than combustion engines, so electric vehicles require less maintenance. Um, and their diesel counterparts too. Gas and diesel vehicles, there's a lot of stuff you have to do to maintain them, changing
Mm-hmm.
oil, changing fluids. Stuff breaks, engine parts break.
Yes.
This is a lot different now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, so the wear and tear is down, and it's gonna save you a little bit of money there, I guess, overall. But
Yeah. I like how, they had mentioned like the engine can help slow down so you're not burning through brake pads. Because, like, for
mm,
me, like, when I tow my camper and my truck, that's a selection that has the drag that, I can stop. When I'm going to stop, I'm not, like, frying through brake pads. The,
yeah,
the engine is helping me slow down. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
yeah, it's
Um,
engine braking. You hear those on diesel trucks when they,
yeah.
exhaust brakes or another one too.
Yeah. And then yeah, so yeah, those are pretty much the big pros and the big cons. And this is when it gets really it's gonna start leaning towards it's gonna sound biased, but the cons that aren't necessarily more. This is the more mainstream cons, but then there's other ones that were pretty big. So the battery technology is not here yet. That's the big thing.
No.
That's one of the major things is it's not. Well, let's just get at it. According to like the U.S. Department of Energy, the expected life of an EV battery is between 10 and 12 years. And do you know how much these fuckers are? So 10 and 12
I
years.
do.
You just get done paying this damn thing off. You just stated there's a lot less maintenance to this vehicle, so this thing should last a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you're paying $13,000 to $20,000 for a new battery, what the hell? Who has that? Like, oh, I just paid my car off. So you just paid your car off. I mean, these things are expensive, and just boom. And that is tens of thousands of dollars. And eventually, I would hope electric vehicles are going to get cheaper. You probably just more than likely just buy a new car, you know,
Yeah,
or
you might as well
sales.
just lease,
Yeah,
keep leasing.
sales of used cars are going to drop because that's the first thing I'm going to ask is how long has that battery been in that car? And if you say 5 years, I'm going to go, what, I got what, 4 years
Yeah,
left?
yeah, anywhere from
Yeah, 5.
4 to 6 years, and you have to fork over another small car payment.
Yeah,
Or car. I should
yeah.
say.
So I would hope over the technology and over time they would come down. But if we're talking 2030, I don't think it's going to come down that quick.
There's not enough time.
Yeah.
There
And
isn't.
then the big thing, I mean, I'm sure everyone is seeing it on their Facebook, TikTok videos, so forth and so on. The charging. The charging
Hmm.
takes forever. Our infrastructure can't handle it right now. Whoever says we can handle it, there's no way. You're lying
So
to me.
I actually just thought about this. I wish I would have pulled the info, but they had the Department of Energy head in a Congress hearing.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about that, and he straight up said there is not enough power to supply all this.
Right.
So that alone,
Yeah.
it should solve that whole issue there. We do not have enough power in this country to supply electric vehicles for everyone.
Yeah. And this is
Not right now.
right. Not right now. This is America. We are not the most energy efficient
No.
country in the world. It's gonna burn up. Like, and they're talking like the best way to charge it is to have it at your home. Who's rewiring my electrical box to get that fucker in here to charge? And let alone,
Electricians will, and they're going to be charging a shit ton, by the way.
yeah. And dude, I'm terrible at plugging my cell phone in overnight. You think I'm gonna remember my fucking car? you
Yeah.
know,
See, that's no shit.
right?
That's one of the more scary sides of all this is the charging aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So I am an electrical specialist. I deal with all this kind of stuff a lot. Now this is measured in amp hours. This is all these batteries. It's basically the amount of current available over time. That's to charge these size batteries as quick as they want is very scary. The amount of current that is flowing through these connectors,
Mm-hmm.
like that is a ton of current, enough that it will kill you if something happens.
Right.
And yeah, these. I mean, just put it this way. Right now, majority of the states it's a minimum 100 amps service for your house. If you install electric vehicle charging stations in your garage, you'll have to bump up your panel a minimum 60 amps. So you might as well just bump it up to a 200 amp service now.
Right.
For someone to come in, electrician to come in, they're going to charge $4,000 to do this, depending on what they have to do now. So not just the cars now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're paying to do all this. I don't think you're going to get a tax credit to pay for that
No,
crap.
those tax credits that you're getting that people are getting with these EVs are
This
not.
is for buying
Yeah,
them.
they're not.
And it's not for leasing in either. It's buying them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they're going to be lasting very much longer.
But to get back on the charging, that and we talked about this. Remember years and years ago we had issues charging phones. Remember how hot phones used to get? They caused fires because people had them on their
They
beds
were
and stuff.
blowing up mid conversation.
These are going to be hot.
Yes.
Yes. And overcharging, like, oh, there's safety for over. Yes, there is, but
Yeah.
sometimes that fails.
That's why when you mention, and we'll mention it later, when you're like, yeah, putting a charger in your garage, I was like, no, not a good idea right now.
Oh, not to mention putting that in your garage. Guess what else is going to start going up? Homeowners insurance.
Oh, fuck
okay?
yeah.
Do you have a electric vehicle? Oh, you do. Do you have a charging station? Okay, so now we have to insure your house more.
Yeah.
Because you have that.
Where is it? Where is the charging
Yeah.
station?
And I'm pretty sure by that time they're going to want actual evidence. So don't be surprised. There's going to be an adjuster coming out to actually assess everything.
Oh, yeah.
Remember before, like, where's the nearest fire hydrant? Oh, it's right out front. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, they remember they used to do that. Well, now they're actually looking at Google Maps.
Yeah.
They got actually locations of these fire,
Yeah.
So stuff like that. They're going to be sending people out to actually look at this. So it's not like, whoa, is this done by a licensed electrician?
Right.
No, I did it. I know some electric shit, so I did it myself.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to insure this.
And-
so it's going to be stuff like that.
Yeah. And you got to be really cautious of where your battery is at and where you're driving and how long you're going to be driving to, because these charging stations, if you're running late and you
Oh, you're
weren't
done.
aware of it, dude, there's videos. I mean, I'm not dissing it. There's videos of these charging stations lined up of people just standing there like fuck, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We're just not there yet, but. So I'll continue with. I'll do one last con before we get into the darkness that was kind of discovered through this whole thing. Towing troubles. Not every person that owns an EV is gonna experience this, but it is a big thing. What do people like to do in the summertime? They like to camp. I'm a camper myself. I tow. My truck goes from anywhere from 24 miles per gallon if I'm completely just driving on the freeway and just good, and it drops down to probably about 9 gallons, 9 gallons miles. No, excuse me, 9 miles per gallon. That is a significant drop off, huge drop off.
Devastating.
So let's say I got convinced, like, hey, you know what? Just a knee-jerk reaction. Hey, I'm going to get these rebates, these government rebates. I'm going to get this. It's fucking cool because some of them look pretty cool. Some of them look like a toy. So the F-150 Lightning. So I have an F-150. So the F-150 Lightning, it can tow up to 10,000 to 11,000 pounds. Well, we're already behind that now because my truck can tow 13,500. So we're already behind that now. Now, if you're towing a 6,000 pound camper, which that's big. That's a big camper. I think. Oh no, mine's around 8,000. So now, okay, we're at a less one. It drops drastically. There was a documented road trip that a couple took. They stopped every 100 miles. Every 100 miles to charge. So now they're not stopping for gas and filling up within 10 minutes. They are charging for hours. Hours. So you might as well take a week's vacation to spend a weekend somewhere 2 hours away. It's bad. And then you got to find the charging station right now. I don't know where one is by me. I have no idea. I have never seen one. I know the dealership has one right around the corner from me, but I've never come across one.
Check out Myers. A lot of Myers are putting them
I'm
in.
sure, but man, I better hope a fucking
They're
Myers
Tesla.
is
It's only Teslas.
is someone
So,
there.
Again,
So it's
different.
It's pretty. That's just a bad situation. Not everyone's gonna run into it because not everyone tows and
No,
all
you just
that.
got to. You have to plan out your trips.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is 100 miles. I'm going to stop around 75. Here's a spot right here. This is where we're going to stop.
It's just brutal. Sometimes you
But
got to
then
go
you
out of
have
the
to
way.
waste time. You have to waste time now. You're going to be sitting there
Mm-hmm.
for hours.
Yep. Yeah, they said it drops the range drops 2/3. So let's say you have 300 miles to go, 100 miles, recharge.
Mm.
And then you gotta drive again,
So
100 miles, recharge. Hopefully there's a charging station within that 100 miles. Otherwise, you might be stopping at
yeah,
60 miles.
yeah,
Or maybe there's not one and you're on
and
the side of the road, you know?
yeah. Well, that's why you put a gas generator in the back, and then you can just pull that out and
Oh, that makes
charge your
sense.
car. Yeah, yeah. It's just to charge your car though.
There's videos of that too, gas
I
generators
know.
charging
Ain't
cars.
that sad? So how they make these miles, 300 miles per charge? They're taking an individual, putting them in the car. They're driving this amount, X amount of miles. No radio, no air, windows are up, perfect conditions, flat road.
Mm-hmm.
That's your 300.
Right.
Now put in hills. Put in, ooh, it's a hot day. I'm gonna put the air on. Oh, it's a hot day. Yeah, guess what else sucks in the hot weather? Batteries.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do really good in cold weather or hot weather. So now your 300 miles is dropping.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting 300 perfect miles all the time.
Right.
So there's so many, what do they call them? Variables, I guess.
Factors.
Factors. There you
Yeah.
go. To consider, and people don't understand all this. They just know.
Yeah.
Just want to get into it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I remember watching a Joe Rogan podcast way back, and he had Candace Owens on it, and he was talking about climate change, and they got to a point where I think Candace he somehow rattled Candace, and he goes, "You don't care about the environment?" She goes, "No." I'm like, come on now, Candace. Like you're frustrated right now, and going forward, I don't want anyone accusing us of that, because I remember in 11th grade, you and I were talking somehow. I don't even know how we were like surprised by this, but we both wanted to eventually be marine biologists. Remember that? Until
I did.
until Mr. Phillips completely destroyed biology for me, and I was like, yeah, maybe not. So I don't even want to be accused by any of that. Like, the environment's important.
No, I do. I do believe that.
Yeah, so
very
you hear
important,
about
so.
this, it's like, okay, yeah, there's a way, and a lot of people have knee-jerk reactions and want to buy it and feel like they're doing their part. I'm doing my
Yes.
part. So I think South Park did it perfectly. Remember when they bought all EVs and they're like, they're closing their eyes and shit, like, while they're driving. Yeah. But what I came across when I was doing this report is there's a very, very, very fucking dark side to this. There's a very dark side to it. And so I started looking into that. It is bad. So what's in batteries that we need? It's all in mostly in the Congo right now.
Lithium and cobalt.
Yes, the top two. So cobalt stabilizes the batteries, right? Well, cobalt was useless 20 years ago. We didn't give a shit about it. It's on the elements chart. Cobalt. Who cares? Well, now big time. So everyone is in the Congo right now, just brutalizing it. So when you think of an EV, you think of clean. You want to think of clean, and it's not the case of it. You look at the vehicle and there's a shiny exterior, like, oh, this is awesome, I'm going to do my part. Well, there's a dark side to it. Extreme poverty and child labor. Brutal child labor. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So, yeah, like you said, lithium, cobalt, they're rare metals, and they have all of these cobalt mines. And I know you've seen it. You saw it too. Mm-hmm. And, there's cobalt and lithium found in a lot of countries. Australia is one. Canada is one. China is one. Cuba and South Africa. And actually, the United States has some in the Philippines. But those rich countries are not going to do it because of price and what it does to the land. A lithium mine is fucking crazy. My jaw dropped
It's
when I saw it.
devastating to the land.
Holes in the land, deep crevices in the land, not a fucking tunnel, a literal fucking crater hole. And I was like,
Think of like a mile wide.
yeah, I was like, real,
maybe more.
I was like, you've
really.
got to be kidding me. So China's not going to do that to their land unless they're desperate. United States isn't going to do it. Australia is going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Canada is fucking Canada. So
South Africa.
70% of the total supply comes from the Republic of Congo. Why? Because it's fucking cheap and there's no labor laws there. So now we're getting dark. It's the second largest country in Africa, and they produce $49 billion. And the people are dirt fucking poor. What was the age group that you said or digging that you saw?
There's some 6 years old.
6 years old.
They're showing like, and they weren't doing anything. They're like, what? How much work could someone that young do?
Yeah.
They weren't. They had hammers and stuff, and they're pounding on rocks, and it's like, but that's what they want. They want as many people as possible, and it could be as young as like 6, or it could be as old as like 80.
Yeah.
They don't give a crap, man. They just want people in those mines bringing it out.
Yep.
And it's horrible. No protective gear.
No.
Right?
They literally have a hammer.
It's you got your clothes on and you're going down there.
It's a ton of people, no safety equipment, no breathing apparatuses, nothing. No mask, no shoes at times. A fucking hammer in their hands. And dude, there's videos of it, guys. You look on YouTube and look up a lithium or a cobalt mine, and you're gonna just be like, holy shit. I mean, what it made me think of almost was Blood Diamond. It reminded me of that. So
it's pretty close.
Over 2 million people rely on the cobalt to cobalt production, and guess what they get paid out of that? What do you think they get paid? $1 a day, maybe.
Pennies.
Maybe.
Yeah. See, the one I heard was 75 cents a day.
Yeah.
That's what they made. That was the going rate.
Unbelievable.
For how much $1 billion company? 49 billion.
49 billion. The country has a GDP of 49
and they're paying
billion.
people 75 cents a day.
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting.
I'll do the math.
I have a hard enough time with child labor with clothes and phones. I'm well aware of it. I know it's there. But it's just my dogs are fighting, guys. Sorry, you can hear them probably in the background, but it's just it's difficult. It is. It's something I take for granted, and I totally ignore. I don't ignore it. I'm aware of it. It's gross. It is what it is. I wear shoes that probably children made. I wear a shirt that probably a child made, or maybe not even a child. Maybe someone that's making $1.25 a day. It's not a good feeling to look at it. I'm holding my phone right now, and it's tough to think about. I'm not going to sit here and my morale is higher than anyone. It's the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? So, 200,000 miners. If there's 200,000 miners looking for cobalt, they're saying at least 40,000 are children. That sucks.
That is so crazy.
Can you imagine your children not even just going to school, but just going to swing a fucking hammer at rocks?
Yeah. Yep. Ain't that crazy?
Poorly educated, malnourished. Yeah, it's absolutely, it's just brutal to even think about. And one of the headlines that made the news was a 13-year-old boy that was killed when a mine collapsed on him. So keep in mind, there's no working regulations there. Yeah. They're literally going into tunnels that were chiseled out by non-professional people.
Yeah.
And a 13-year-old, he never came back home, and they found out that he was crushed in a cave collapse, and between 2014 and 15, 80 people died, and now they're saying it's getting up to about 2019. An accident killed 43 miners, and then now they're saying 2,000 illegal miners will die a year
In the Congo,
in the
yeah.
Congo.
I remember reading that stat too.
Yeah, and they're not
Yeah,
dying just, and that's not even counting the people that are dying from lung damage,
yeah.
infections.
Long-term illnesses.
Yeah, they're just sitting there bringing a fucking
Yeah.
black lung. Here we go.
Ugh.
Yeah, so I mean, some families. I read a report that they're suing. Some families are suing Tesla because of it. They're not mentioning the child's name. Yeah, like you said, he worked for 75 cents a day, and the child, 9-year-old, fell into a tunnel, died.
Yeah. And you know that, and like we were saying, they're not going to approve this kind of stuff over in the
Mm-hmm.
states, where all our safety regulations, where it'd be a billion times
Oh
safer.
yeah,
They're not going to do it. Congress ain't going to allow this kind of uh, manufacturing to be going on in this
it's
country.
risky.
How much, like it. And again, this is getting into the non-biased side, and I like, I care about the environment, but to do all this stuff, it's burning a lot of emissions.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a
It's
second.
not it's
Yeah.
it's not just,
Yep.
but that's why they're not going to allow it over in this country. They don't want it over
No.
here.
No. They're saying the demand of the metal has tripled in the last decade. In the last
Mm,
decade, so um, cobalt will increase by 585% by 2050. And something interesting that is going on is there's 19 industrial mines, not the illegal mines that we're seeing that companies are gladly taking from. There's 19 industrial mines in the Congo. China owns 15 of them. 15 of
go
them.
figure.
20 years ago, they just put a bet down. They were like, you know what? We're going to purchase these cobalt mines. They're not useful right now. We're just going to, why not? Let's risk it.
Yeah.
And here we are. Now um, China controls it. And they promised the Congo, District Republic of Congo, billions of dollars to invest in their infrastructure, their school, their roads, in trade for the cobalt. And nothing. Look at the Congo right now. You're telling me these people are better off than they were 20 years ago? No,
Yeah.
not at all. Um, so yeah, they are. There was a report saying that China is leaking the quote unquote blood cobalt into the supply chain for electric vehicles. So it is being used. They are sneakily, if that's a word, they're sneaking this shit in to the legal mining. They're pretty much laundering the cobalt, and that is just absolutely fucking. That's just disgusting, and it's happening today. It's happening right now as we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 40% of the cobalt comes from the Congo, and
Yeah.
in China, and it's the reality of it. In China's large scale, their workers are abused, discriminated against, beaten, and forced. And just, if a worker dies, they keep the corpse hidden and bribe the family to keep quiet. There's reports on this stuff. I mean, I'll post links if people want to hear it. China is not good, and they're gonna own it all. They own 15 of the mines.
Mm. They're already creating a monopoly.
Yeah, and it's
Going that
it's
way.
just it's brutal, and everyone's the world's largest automakers are complicit in these crimes, including Tesla,
Yeah.
Volvo, Renault, Mercedes Benz, and Volkswagen. all get their cobalt from Chinese mines from the Congo. So all these countries just sitting there and putting their noses up. We have morals, we care. You're taking anything from China, it's not good. Anything.
Yeah.
So it's very unfortunate. The child labor and all that stuff that's going on. It's nasty. So there might not be any. I don't know if this is gonna sound like a pun, but there might be no dirty energy coming out of the tailpipe, but this shit is fucking dirty.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, you're against EVs." No, I'm not.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm against how they're not
No.
showing you the full picture.
If we are shutting down oil pipelines, and I'm not saying oil combustion engines should be the future. They can improve them, but if we're shutting down oil pipelines where they're legal, there have been accidents. Yes, absolutely. There's been accidents. There's been spills. I'm not in favor of these spills, but if you look at where an oil pipeline has been after its lifetime compared to a lithium or cobalt mine where it's been after its lifetime, you're not going to be able to tell that oil rig was there. They restore everything. I remember I've seen pictures of it. They restore a lot of it. You're never going to know. You're going to know that lithium and cobalt mine is there because there is a gigantic hole in the fucking earth. Like, it is a hole. Just Google lithium mine. Google cobalt mine. And you're going to be like, holy shit. They're never going to mine in the United States. They probably won't mine in Canada. I know there's a lot of space in Canada. Maybe, maybe not. They're never going to mine there. It's all...
Yeah.
Everyone will be reliant on countries that are willing to do so and just put those fucking holes. Put those holes in it. I mean, dude, it's wild seeing that. I remember my jaw dropping. I was talking to a guy, and I was like, have you ever seen this? He didn't know. And he was like, holy shit, look at that thing. I was like, yeah. No shit. So.
I was trying to see if I could find a size of like one, but they're not. They're just telling you how much production's coming out of these things.
I'll tell you
they're
what.
Huge.
What was very hard to find was non-bias articles. Hard.
Well, they're not gonna. Yeah.
This was the hardest thing I've ever had to research and write up on. It was difficult. So while you're looking that up, you mentioned it earlier, the emissions that no one talks about. How much to make on, or how much, with the emissions, there's no emissions coming out of the exhaust of the electric vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to sit there and act like they're responsible for zero emissions is completely, I guess, ignorance is bliss when it comes to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So making one of these, there was a report put out by McKinsey. An electric vehicle, depending on the size of it, has a carbon footprint during the manufacturing process double of an internal combustion engine right now, and an internal combustion vehicle right now, a normal vehicle, if you will. So right off the bat, they got to do some catching up. The production and the more production these things are going to put out. So as production increases, it's just not ideal to pretend these things don't have emissions right off the bat. It's rough because you need all these vehicles, you need the mining, the power to power the manufacturing line. It's a mess. That is some serious. They're working on it. I assume it's going to get better somehow, some way. But to sit here and say it's almost double, And that's just compared to, I believe that was a sedan. So the bigger the vehicle, the more components there are, the more carbon footprint there's going to be put on. And yeah, I mean it's a rough situation right off the bat. I feel like it's behind the curtain of, you know, what what's a better way to put it? It
Yeah, they're. I mean, they're the electric vehicles themselves. Once they're made and everything, they they don't put a lot of emissions out. But yeah, it's behind the
yeah.
curtain. It's like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Don't look behind
Thank
the
you.
curtain, right?
Yes.
So it's all big and bad, and then, oh hey, look behind the
Yeah.
curtain.
And
But
one of the things that really go made me go, wait a minute, and it was before I looked up, and this was a couple years ago, before I looked up any of the lithium or cobalt mines or any of that. It was the tires. I never put that together. The weight of these vehicles.
oh yeah, the weight they're gonna be creating more emissions from the
Yeah,
rubber.
and yeah, I guess it's 20% more tire emissions compared to an internal combustion engine vehicle. A
Yes.
gas burning car on one of the reports said around 73 milligrams per kilometer from all four tires. Um, and the EV sheds 88. So there's, and actually I was reading a lot of report back when LA was dealing with the smog issue. A lot of that smog was not exhaust. It was tire emissions. And that again, it's not talked about. When you talk zero emissions, they're just talking out of the tailpipe. And that's it. You can't tell me that these things are going to, it can't be unnoticed. I mean, the researchers saying like tires alone is the second leading source of the microplastics in the ocean. Yeah,
Wow.
and they're not even entirely sure how harmful they are, how harmful these tire emissions are. Um, I was doing some research. There's a company called Tire Tyre, and it's actually a port that goes behind the vehicle and will suck in as many tire emissions possible. But when I hear of that, because they're not on all vehicles right now, right? What does that thing run on?
No.
The battery. That's even
Yep.
more battery drainage to have this thing sucking on. Where does it go? Does it fill up? Is there a filter? I don't know. I got to look more on it because, yeah, when I was doing more research, I was like, yeah, there's no way they're going to. I mean, a vehicle almost twice the weight of any normal vehicle is that's pretty
hmm
intense.
So speaking of the tires thing, 'cause I actually just seen something today, it just made me think about it. Um, in Kuwait, they have an area in the desert where there's 50 million
And they're burning them.
tires, just and they're burning them all. This video, this smoke is just it's covering the entire sky,
Right.
and it is completely black. Yeah, I just had to look it up. I was like, oh my god, where was that area? And it was ridiculous. And people are complaining. Like, you imagine like living there and
No.
having to like breathe all that
No,
stuff
we're
in.
sitting here being affected by the
These people are like,
wildfires. We're being
yeah,
affected by the wildfire
and
smoke right
that's
now.
bad, right? And they're telling us to try to do everything
Mm-hmm.
inside from just burning trees. I couldn't imagine what what Kuwait
You
is
know
dealing
why? Because
with.
no one.
This was last year, I think it was. Oh no, I'm sorry, 2021. So, but still, they're just reporting on it actually.
Yeah. Well, they're not. It's
Like
not going to be like,
more.
oh, a one-time thing. You know.
Yeah, they call it the world's largest fire graveyard. 50 million
Isn't that
tires,
crazy?
and they're
And
burning
you know
them.
why no one's reporting on it or anything like that, like they are with the wildfires in Canada and Michigan and New York and everything? It's Kuwait. Just like the Congo,
No
no
one
one gives
cares.
a shit. Could you
Yeah.
imagine right in the middle of America, like, Ohio, there's a gigantic field. We're going to be burning 10 million tires. People would lose their shit. It's an absolute double
Yeah.
standard. And there was an emissions analytics now concluding with normal driving, tire wear particles emissions are 1,815 times greater than tailpipe
Wow,
particle emissions. So
that is
it's not looking
ridiculous.
green. I don't see
Check
green.
this. Check this out.
Wow, yeah.
Look at that. So I'm
That is,
showing him an image. It's hundreds of thousands of tires, and I couldn't even tell you how long this fire trail is. It's just
we should
dumps of
we should
smoke.
post that link. That is black smoke. That's not even, dude, that's not even, when you think smoke, that is
Yeah,
black smoke.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely
They put,
insane.
yeah. I'll actually do copy this link and we'll post it and stuff. It's horrible,
Yeah.
guys. It's
And another thing,
ridiculous.
what the emissions and analytics said was the fundamental trends that drive this ratio are particle emissions are much lower on new cars, and tire wear emissions increase with vehicle mass and aggressiveness of driving style. So even weight, it's the weight.
Yeah, and the people are gonna be doing burnouts and stuff on with these things, right? Just like regular cars.
Yeah.
So it's just
So
yeah, it's just lots of emissions from
yeah.
tires.
So they said here, that does not bode well for larger EV battery packs, which contribute a significant amount of weight. Half a metric ton of battery weight can cause tire emissions 400 times greater than real world tailpipe emissions, everything else being equal.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's nothing out of the tailpipe, of course. And, that was a lot of things. It was really frustrating because I knew about this, right? I knew about the tire emissions a couple years ago, and that's what made me start digging into EV vehicles to where I like I said, I really wanted one. I thought they're awesome, but I want to do some research, and everywhere I kept looking for like this article to write this up and to share with everyone, I kept seeing no emissions, no emissions, no emissions, zero emissions, zero emissions, no emissions, zero emissions, and I'm like, I know that's bullshit. I know that's wrong. It's zero emissions asterisk out of the tailpipe. You know what I mean? Like it was really frustrating for me because I'm like, this is bullshit. This is not fucking true.
It is. It's ridiculous
And
too.
just to put it in perspective, we've gotten a lot better with internal combustion engines. Like I was at the gas station and a guy was driving a 2000, I think it was a 2013 F-150. I have a 2022 F-150. And he's like, "What mileage do you get out of that?" And I was like, 24 miles per gallon, roughly, perfect driving. And I said,
Yeah.
I'd probably say anywhere from 17 and a half to 18, maybe 19. He's like, "You lucky son of a bitch." And I was like, "What do you get?" He's like, "I'm lucky to get 10." And I'm like, "That's what I get when I pull a camper." And so if you look in the last 13 years alone, the steps we've taken to reduce emissions out of just the normal internal combustion engine, and then think of a hybrid, what a hybrid would do, I'm pretty sure that would cut it
Mm.
right in half. And it's yeah, I think we're kind of learning to run. We're trying to run before we walk, with the state of
Yeah.
it. So
So I have all this written down. I wanted to throw out there a typical EV battery, which is roughly 75 kilowatts to emit to make emits more than 7 tons of CO2 emissions.
wow.
So to put this, just to give you some numbers here, fossil fuels, cobalt mining is only responsible for 1.5 million tons. Lithium mining is estimated to be around 1.3 million tons. And then for every ton mined, lithium is equal to about 15 tons of CO2 in the air. So I mean, it's these two combined are pretty horrible. The major source of EV emissions is the energy used to their batteries, but this varies enormously based on where the car is driven too, and what kind of energy is used to produce the electric. So the best case scenario in Norway is it's Europe's largest EV market, and the nation draws its own energy from hydropower. So they're using water to make their electricity, which is like almost to nothing a carbon footprint. It's nothing.
Crazy.
But in countries, they get their most of their energy from burning dirty ass coal, such as China, India, the United States,
Yeah.
Japan. They're roughly 76% of the world's coal fire electric, uh, where they're coal fire electric. The emission numbers they're almost the same as gas cars now.
Crazy.
Like just because of the coal. See. So if we change to hydropower, it might be a different story. But they're never going to be that way because that's so much money they'd have to put into it.
Right. And yeah, and
You
you got to
know.
think the amount that they are. The more these things get going, the more we push. What is it? They're saying like by 2030, 2035, 2030, 2035, they don't want to sell gas powered engines anymore.
No, not at
So
all.
think of the production that needs to pick up now to
Mm-hmm.
get this going.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you can't sit there and tell me the mining, everything has to ramp up big time.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of vehicles that they're gonna have to they're gonna have to get going on. So
Yeah. It's. I mean, I know it's the mining, man. It's these the lithium, cobalt. There's nickel. All these are used and they're crucial for EV batteries.
right,
Um, it's uh, it's
it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
like so Tesla their Model 3 uses an 80 kilowatt battery, which they have those, and that battery alone for Tesla can create anywhere from 2.5 to 16 metric tons of CO2,
Wow.
and then it's greatly depends on what kind of energy, like I said, they
Right.
use. The battery manufacturing, they really need to focus
They
more
got to
on that.
figure it out.
You know what the most, well, everyone, no, I shouldn't say everyone, the most sustainable energy is. It's nuclear.
Right.
Like
It's scary
if
sounding.
they can I know, isn't it? But if you could somehow harness this, and it would be almost impossible because we have idiots out there that would take these and make
Yeah.
bombs, and you know, so if we had some kind of nuclear type battery, we wouldn't have any
Mhm.
issues. We would have no issues,
Yeah.
and it'd last probably a billion times longer.
Right. Yeah. Yep. But they wouldn't like that because they want us to buy, 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 buy.
Yeah, why buy once when you can buy
Yeah.
400 times?
So now that we're talking
Um,
about the emissions, and the weight of the battery and what that causes. Now let's segue into some safety concerns. So one was the weight. These are going
yes.
from cars to fucking tanks. So the first all electric vehicle that had been tested on this specific study was a 3,339 pound, 211 Nissan Leaf. And the current generation of EVs, many of which exceed 6,000 pounds. These are large SUVs and pickups packed with power that requires a massive battery. And then when this extra weight is put into context, the GMC Hummer electric vehicle,
Yep.
9,500 pounds. That is absolutely insane. Um, I I couldn't imagine. You might as well say fender benders will no longer exist.
No, you're gonna get
Yeah,
destroyed.
non-electric vehicles are
Again,
typically 3,000 to 4,000 pounds.
yeah, so you're getting possibly 2 to 3 times that amount in an electric vehicle. Now, because of this, insurance prices are going to go up now
Yeah,
because there's going to be more issues. And when you get in an accident, there might be, instead of like 10% being damaged, it could be 50, 60% being damaged now or completely
yeah.
totaled. So your insurance is going
The
to go up.
totals are gonna rise up so incredibly fast. I mean, absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, but deaths also.
Yeah.
deaths are going to skyrocket. There's no and ifs about it, and I'm wondering if that's why so much of the self driving and accident automatic accident evasive maneuvers are happening with these cars because
Yeah, for
people
sure.
are dumb. I mean, if you go on YouTube, you can look
Mm.
up car accidents and look at these car accidents and be like, there's a lot of stupid people out there. And, we're going to put these people behind a 9,500 pound tank or a bullet. And that just sounds insane. The only thing I can think of, it makes me think of iRobot. Remember? The guy was yelling at him, like, are you crazy? You were manually driving your vehicle? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
You couldn't get over that fact
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. And then not only that, and hopefully this does get better, but what we were talking about earlier with cell phones blowing up on people's faces and shit, um, exploding batteries.
Yeah.
And
That's a bad one
yeah,
too.
there's a lot of stuff going on. That's what we were talking about, like the cobalt is what stabilizes the batteries. And these lithium ion batteries, a ton of consumer tech products. They power laptops, cameras, smartphones, all this stuff.
Hmm.
They are packing all this power into super slim devices. The laptop I'm on right now, I think, is 3/4 of an inch to an inch big. Like, it's small, it's very slim. Phones are sitting here super slim, and there's probably a lot of lithium ion in there. And
Yeah.
so any misuse or aging or, God forbid, a manufacturing issue, it can get really bad really fast for a lot of people. So when you're
Mm.
thinking about a laptop, not thinking about a car with a massive ass battery in it. And
Yeah.
somehow I get, what was it, I think the Ford Lightning halted production because they were having battery issues.
Yeah. Yeah. They
And
were.
it was for a few months. They expected it to last, I think it was this year. They're expecting it to last from January into January, I believe, and they didn't get going back till March because of the battery issues.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, these batteries, if they do catch fire, which they can, because if they get in an accident and it's bad enough, the batteries will puncture and they will catch fire.
Yeah.
Some fire stations that have already put these fires out have said they've used as much as 8,000 gallons to put out a EV fire, like the
That's
battery.
insane.
Yeah,
That's insane.
yeah. It's roughly about 4 times the amount of a normal
Wow.
fire, a crash. But not just that though, because I read an article not too long ago where this happened, and it was coming from underneath the car. It was
Mm-hmm.
spewing out. So they flipped the car so they can actually hit it, so it stops
Right.
burning. Well, they got it out, but after about 30 minutes, it reignited,
Wow.
and then they put it out again. So they took it to the junkyard or wherever, and it ignited 3 more
Oh.
times while it was at the. And this was all in a span of a day.
Wow.
It just kept igniting. So they drug it out all the way to the back of this pretty much dump, and just let it burn until there wasn't, because they could not get it
That's
to go out.
scary. Could you imagine if it
So
happened at nighttime and like no one was there? What would happen?
done,
So here's a
done.
report according to researchers at University of Michigan about charging these lithium ion batteries. Any device with this kind of battery should be charged and stored in a cool, dry place and not left charging for too long or while you're asleep. A recommendation likely at odds with
Yeah.
how many consumers handle their
How many people are going to
their,
be
their
doing that?
devices. Yeah,
They're going to be doing them when they go to bed
yeah.
overnight.
Well, when else are you gonna charge it? So if I get home from work at 5 o'clock, and I can't have any errands to run because now I got to charge my battery for 8 hours. So what time is that? Midnight? 1 o'clock? And I'm supposed to go unplug that thing? It's not going to happen. People are going to charge these things overnight. It's going to have a
There will be a lot of fires.
long periods. So here's a report here, 2016, what we were talking about, the cell phones. Samsung issued a global recall of a Galaxy Note 7. Battery cell issues that cause the device to catch fire and at times explode. HP and Sony later recalled lithium computer batteries for fire hazards, and about 500,000 hoverboards were recalled due to a risk of catching fire and or exploding. And this is from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. And now what's happening recently is
Wow.
scooters and e-bikes. Experts are warning anyone with a lithium-ion battery should follow proper charging and battery usage guidelines. And here's a report on the F-150, the Lightning. Production of the F-150 Lightning batteries came to a halt in February 2023 after a battery-related issue arose at Ford's Dearborn plant. Who knows what happened? I'd have to look that up. According to a CNBC report, a fire broke out at the automaker's holding lot during a pre-delivery quality inspection. So I'm wondering if it was even running. It was sitting in the lot.
Yeah.
You and I have seen this lot.
They might not even say it. Yeah.
It's a sea of trucks.
Yeah. They might not even say it.
Yeah.
I doubt they'd say it.
It was charging. Excuse me. It was charging. And the automaker said the F-150 Lightning production would be on hold. Lightning production would be on hold for around a week. But almost a month passed before it actually resumed on March 13, 2023. So, yeah, and then, there's other. Ford isn't the only automaker. Tesla, as back as 2013, the Model S went into production. They had to increase the ground clearance for the Model S to help mitigate the fire risk to the undercarriage.
Oh, shit, right? They're like you said, they're lower to the ground now. What happens when you hit a speed bump? You've heard these, like, Corvettes and stuff, these lower to the ground vehicles go over some of these speed bumps, and
not even a speed bump. Think about freaking potholes all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, over here in Michigan, goddamn, dude.
Yeah.
Half the roads are potholes.
Yep. Chevy, 100,000 bolts were produced from 2017 to 2022.
Oh, that's been an issue since they started.
And it has a defect that could cause fire.
Yeah. This, because I wanted to bring this up since you brought up electric scooters. I'm trying to figure out where this was. Oh, this was in New York. A 5-alarm fire on a supermarket broke out on March 5th. After all the investigations and whatnot were done, they found out that it was e-bike battery storage area.
Whoa!
And that's what caught fire. And overall, 7 injured, 2 seriously. In the IC, 2 people were in the ICU. And this is just because this is area that this building, they stored batteries.
Jeez.
Yeah. 5 alarms.
So, I guess we might as well get to our thoughts on the EVs. It was kind of disappointing. I really when the EVs started happening. I was pretty excited for it before it was getting pushed. I would say,
like I said, that's the future.
2017. I was like, man, these are cool, super cool. They're slick. I rode in one. I like the features. It's nice and simple. I was excited for them. Still, I'm excited. But I don't know why. I think I know, and I said I wouldn't get political. I think it's more of a we're paying. The technology's not here yet. Fair enough to say? Yeah, it's not enough.
And it's true.
We're not there yet. Our infrastructure, the batteries, everything, the safety, everything's not necessarily prepared for a massive production to replace every vehicle in the world.
That
Yeah,
fast.
we're not there yet. I don't know why we skipped hybrids. Hybrids have been out for a while. It just seemed like we jumped them.
No.
But I really think we are in this position because of an investment that they want to pay off as soon as possible. That's just where I'll go. I could be wrong. I might be wrong because it's the future. It's gonna be the future. But it's just odd to me in the past 2 years. Such a hard push, a very hard push for it, and we didn't even talk about price, the price of these things.
Yeah, no, right.
You get a new car, then you got to get the new charging unit installed to your house. Most of us are going to have to get everything rewired, is what we talked about.
Yep.
And, you know, it's,
Yeah, it's gonna cost
yeah, it
money.
just doesn't seem,
I mean, like I said, homeowners insurance is gonna go up. Your auto insurance will more likely go up
mm-hmm,
because of these. And then I know people. I've talked to someone who's had it, and he's like, no, it didn't go up that much. I was like, okay, but it still went up,
right,
right? So, right now, but wait till everybody has start having issues and stuff like.
right.
If these issues do arise, these insurances will
Yeah.
go up.
And,
Like you
another,
said,
I'm
so
sorry,
much
Brandon,
money.
go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good, dude.
But another thing we didn't bring up with the weight, road construction.
Mm. Yeah. Oh God, I was talking to my neighbor. He's the county road commission. He works for the county road commission. He was telling me how there's different concrete for different areas of
Mm-hmm.
the road. For example, going straight, you need a say we'll call it the regular your base
Okay.
concrete. But when you're on a turn, it's a different type of concrete because now the force of turning your vehicle is pushing against the
Mm-hmm.
concrete. So they need a much stronger concrete for the
Really?
turns. And it's cost more for every turn, whatever it is, it costs more for that type of concrete. These being heavier, they're going to have to redo all the concrete because they're going to be it's just
It's
going to
gonna
start
wear.
breaking.
Yeah. We see them in the
Yeah.
roads all the time. How it like W's, where the
Yeah.
tires, have left the wear and tear. And I don't know about anybody else, but Michigan, there's
Hmm.
so many days where I sit there. I'm like Michael Douglas's character in fucking Falling Down, where there's so much construction, and I'm like just to get out of the car and just start fucking walking. Like tow it, I don't
Yeah.
care. Tow it, I'm done. I'm just gonna get out and just
Yeah.
gonna walk. But yeah, like there's a lot of factors, but maybe for our kids or grandkids they'll have it figured out, but right now not so much. And
Yeah.
we were talking about alternatives, and the hydrogen got brought up, but you
Yep.
can't help but to think, like you mentioned earlier, the Hindenburg. It's a very unstable gas, so it's like fuck. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I was telling Ryan before too, my work actually dabbled in putting hydrogen powered vehicles together, and it went around for a couple years and then never came. We had no issues that I knew of, but it was just probably something they said, nah, we're just gonna get away
Yeah.
from this.
Can you share the story what you told me about I forgot what you mentioned what you were working on, but you couldn't open the compartment immediately?
Oh yeah, so that's a fear.
Okay.
So working on these electric vehicles, I work in environmental testing as well as part of my job. So if we have to retrofit our environmental chambers now for different fire suppressant, basically, because if something happens in the chambers, then we're going to have to put it out. Now, the unfortunate part is when we're testing these vehicles and we have to go in to examine whatever, we just walk in.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really pay attention. We just go in, and these chambers go from 180 degrees down to negative 40 degrees. They do 100 degrees with 95% humidity. It gets pretty nasty. We try to hit every environment around the world, but so we don't pay attention going into these things. if there's a fire that was happening in one of these, and we so happen just to open the door, that first rush of oxygen into it, there's a chance that it will explode.
Backdraft.
Yeah, and not just not a backdraft, like
Oh yeah.
literally explode.
Wow.
So we are like very. A lot of my coworkers do not want this.
Right.
Like they said if they continue or this doesn't get solved, they might even move into a different lab because they do not want to be around this. Because if it blows up, like I said, you don't pay attention because it's just
We're
another room
humans. We make
basically.
mistakes.
You know, so yeah, you're gonna have to start paying attention. Look in there. Hopefully, there's no fire because you
Right.
know, and then go in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scared the hell out of us when we got it brought it up in one of our safety briefs over the EV batteries. And I was, oh man.
Yeah.
Now the only reason that the battery really needs to be in there is due to the weight. Like they need to resemble the car as much as possible for testing.
Yeah.
We might not have ever batteries in them. You know, there might be just when we do this randomly now, we just throw a power supply on some of our batteries just to emulate a 12-volt battery. So it might be just something like that. We just add power to the car so we can run the mirrors or do whatever we need to
Right.
do to, do the testing. But it's scary. It is
Sounds
really
like it.
scary.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and this wasn't, guys, gals, dudes, dudettes. This wasn't anything to like try to deter you from buying an
No.
electric vehicle. Um,
And we both stated in the beginning we are for
yeah. I
all
mean,
this,
it's
but
got to
not
move on.
fast.
Yeah. It's just learn to walk first before we run. I'm still. I said it a couple times already. I'm still amazed that we just completely hopped over hybrids. I don't understand why we just were like, no,
I was 100%
like
for
you
him.
couldn't use it as a stepping stone. Like I don't get it. I don't understand it. But here we are, and I just can't help but to feel like we're the lab rats of the whole situation. Of this transition, this abrupt. I almost don't even want to call it a transition. It's almost abrupt. And
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like I said, we're not against them, but there's a lot of factors that should be looked into, whether it be the safety, the emissions, the things. I remember another thing that was kind of disheartening was it was a hearing, and I think they were going. It was the Department of Energy guy, and to power everything, it was just an astronomical amount of power that we would need just in America to
Yeah.
withstand the charging of everybody having one. And then I forgot what the other gentleman was being. You and I have seen this video. There was another Senate hearing, and they were testing the guy like if everyone in America were to buy electric vehicles, what would what would the temperature be dropped down by? And
Oh yeah.
we were responsible for like
Yeah.
what America alone is responsible for 14% of the carbon footprint in the world, and that's a lot. But that's a lot. It might be different per capita because we are we're heavily populated more than a lot of areas in the world. But they said what's the percentage it would drop, and I might be off a decimal point. It was like 0.001%.
0.0002. I think there was 3 zeros, or it might have been 2 actually,
We'll
but it was
find the
2.
video and post it. But I heard that and I was
Yeah.
like, the fuck? You know,
So it's really not gonna, and that was in the, like 100 years or something. I thought
I
they
don't
were
even
saying.
know. I don't even know. And I
It
wish
wasn't. It was
I
nothing.
wish I had the video in front of me right now to relay the information properly to everybody.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're not experts. But when I saw that, I was like, what the hell? And then I was waiting for the guy to rebuttal. No, there was no rebuttal. I was like, well, fuck. Like we're doing all this for not even a%, like a single percent. So
Yep. And,
what a pisser.
yeah.
He just all the guy kept saying is we need if everyone needs to get their act together. Everyone needs to get their act together. And I was like, so that's enough of the political stance
Yeah.
of
I
it.
know.
But
I know.
it was kind of disheartening
I
to
know.
hear. That's all. Just because it's such a large push for what seems to be minimal results. But I guess it's a minimal result in the right direction. You could say. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you can say.
You know. So, all right, but yeah, we'll hop off that subject. It's kind of I was kind of thinking at work today. I was like, God, every time we go into the new technology thing, it seems ultra depressing, like a Black Mirror
Yeah. I
episode.
know.
All those episodes are
Ugh.
like, fuck, man. Like, but the more you look into this shit and you dig into it, it's like, oh, Jesus. But it is
Yep.
what it is.
That's true.
So, real quick, before we wrap the episode up, we talked about My Adventures of Superman, premiered last week at the ripe early time of midnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what'd you think?
Mm-hmm. That was good. Um, I told you, I thought it was cool. Like the opening WB logo
Yeah.
had flashbacks to the original Bat or Superman cartoon, so that was kind of cool. I liked that. Um, yeah, it looked cool. I know another thing I didn't tell you. Remember when spoiler alert if anybody hasn't seen it, but um, remember when Clark went to rescue the cat out of the
Yeah.
tree? Yeah, and gives it back to the little girl. That's just like Christopher Reeve did
Yeah. Yeah. It was like a
in the
callback.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was just like, oh shoot, that's cool.
Yeah. It
So
was
I thought
cool.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah. It kind of brought it back to uh, the Boy Scout, big blue Boy Scout. It's kind of a
Hmm.
shout out to that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
a lot of things they did different. The spaceship, when it started activating, and
yes,
Jarrell shows up and he's
yeah.
like,
That
oh, no,
was
no,
that was
no, no, no.
wild.
And I was like, dude, this is scary. Like, I
Yeah,
was like, what the fuck is Jarrell's
yeah. This
problem?
dude's intense.
Yeah. It was like super intense. And, the suit kind of, what would you call it? Like, it just appeared on him instead of, physically having to put it on.
Yeah, it was like almost like a symbolite. I mean, like
Yeah.
venom, it was just
Yeah. It was kind of funny when he got it
but
on. I was like, that's cool. And Ma Kent was like, you definitely need some shorts. And I was like, oh, shit.
yeah,
I
I
was
know.
like, here we go. I was like, that's how they got on.
I thought the same thing. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
yeah,
so that was a cool little
yeah, that
callback.
was good. I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
cool. I'm excited now for it. Right?
I want to see what it
It's gonna be the new
brings because
thing.
they're touching on the Kryptonian heritage. He has
Mm-hmm.
no idea who he is still. One thing
Mm-hmm.
I like that's pretty cool is he powers up when the moment calls for it. So I thought that was really
Yeah,
interesting.
that was cool.
Um,
He had like this Dragon Ball Z type. You said that earlier. Just
yeah, yeah, no,
when he needed it.
yeah, lot of
But
cool, concepts. But we'll have to see. We'll see where it leads. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was
yeah,
fresh enough and
I
new
did.
enough. So
I'll take it.
I think it's pretty cool, the anime style, whatever. But yeah, I'll take it. It's something new. We'll keep checking it out and see where it goes. So
Yeah, sure.
so yeah, we do not have anything lined up for next week. We're gonna have to
No,
find a
no.
topic quickly.
Yeah, we'll figure something out within the next day
Yeah,
or two.
yeah, hopefully something
Tease it on
interesting
the
happens.
socials. Yeah.
But
So
there's
we'll be
something
alright.
funny. I'll tease it right now. I'll tell you off the air, and we'll decide whether to share it. On the problem that these photographers picked up about David Cornswet being Superman.
Hmm.
One photographer captured a picture on vacation, and they foresee a problem that could entail in the Superman suit. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I'll tell you offline, and then we'll judge on whether we should share it or not. Because even I looked at it, I was like,
Okay.
Jesus Christ, there is going to be a
Yeah.
problem.
Oh boy. Great.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll wrap this episode up. Hopefully, it wasn't too boring or depressing or dark for any of you.
Yeah.
Um,
And again, if you know, if you like certain things we talk about or have
yeah,
ideas,
I asked
you
on
know,
Facebook. I said, "Man,
throw us throw us a
throw us a
line, man. You know.
topic. We can at least bullshit our way through it. If we're not
Yeah.
experts on it."
We'll run with stuff.
So
But yeah, hit us up on the
yeah,
socials.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think that's it.
YouTube, I guess. You know. Right
Yeah,
here.
and thank you
So
everyone again for the new subscribers and the OGs. We appreciate you
yep,
all. Seriously, it's awesome. It's pretty cool.
we're getting new ones every week on Twitter. Um, Sometimes it will be 10, sometimes it
No shit.
so. But we're still getting more subscribers, more followers, and I'm actually just opening it up right now. Okay, still the same, but yep,
It's
same
cool.
stuff. You
We
know.
enjoy it, and if you guys want us to keep on coming, share our stuff if you could. Share it with other like-minded people that just want to turn off for a second and listen to some dudes either talk like we're smart and sound really stupid. Yeah, so
Is he smart or is he
yeah,
like me?
I felt so bad for him. Like
I
oh
know,
fuck,
like,
he's
damn,
aware.
dude.
He's aware that he's got an issue. No, Forrest, he's
Uh,
very smart. Like she even
yeah.
ensures
Okay.
him. No, Forrest, he's not
Yeah.
like you. He's very smart.
Yeah. It's great, huh?
I'm like, damn,
So,
bitch, Jenny.
all right,
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. I hope everyone has a really good weekend. I'm not sure when we're gonna release this one. Just release it
Yeah,
whenever.
it should be the same normal date
Yeah.
time, hopefully.
Yep,
So,
we'll get it going. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode again, and hopefully we'll be talking to you here soon. I do apologize for the long break, but that's life,
yeah.
man. We have a life
Yep.
just as everyone else does that listens to this, and sometimes we're gonna get a delay, sometimes not. So appreciate your patience, and hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll talk to you guys again soon.
Until next time, my friends.
See you later.